Hello, I'm Cute Spooky, and this is what I look like today. Why do I look like this today? Because today I'm talking about my experience with the Visions of Mana demo. I spent around 2 hours in this demo exploring everything that I possibly could, and I have quite a bit to say about it. Some good, some bad, so let's get into it. The demo throws you right into the deep end. There's no hand-holding, so you have to spend some time figuring out the mechanics, which I didn't mind at all. I'd rather they do that than make the demo feel like one big tutorial. There will be plenty of time for that in the main game. You're also thrown into the middle of the story. Okay, not the middle, but definitely not the beginning. It's clear some pretty major stuff has already happened, and you're missing a ton of context. It feels disorienting at first, but the more you play, the more you get an idea of what's happened so far, and the better you understand the party's motivations for adventuring together. From what I was able to piece together, it doesn't sound like the story's gonna be revolutionary, but it does sound interesting enough that I want to see how it plays out. Of course, none of this will be relevant for the full release, because I'm sure they will feed mechanics and story to you at a more natural pace. The class system in this game looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play around with. Equipping different elements allows you to change a character's class, and each class has its own unique outfit, weapons, and combat style. This will add a nice variety to team comp, and I can't wait to experiment with it. Though, I'll probably end up going with whatever I think looks the coolest for each character. I love games where you can see what weapons look like on your character. It's nice seeing the visual glow up when you obtain a new powerful weapon. Also, this game allows you to change the appearance of your weapon into another one, so you can always have the most powerful one equipped without having to sacrifice fashion. Which is great for someone like me, because I am the type of person to equip a weapon that gives you negative 100 strength just because it looks cute. Remember, you can't fight crime if you ain't cute. This game has side quests, but there's not much to say about them. There were only a few in the demo, and they seemed very standard and generic. Go defeat this many enemies, go beat up this guy. I think they were all combat related now that I'm thinking about it, which is fine. I prefer side quests with more substance, but I don't mind small repetitive tasks either. The one thing I didn't like about them is that the enemies you need to take down are not always marked on your map. I picked up these side quests after I'd already explored the previous area, but I didn't have a great memory of where these bees were that I needed to teach a lesson. If you're gonna mark all the treasure chests on the map, why not mark all the quest objectives too? I'm assuming they stick to the same areas. The biggest draw of this game for me is how beautiful the world is. It's vibrant, magical, and surprisingly big. I was shocked at how big of an area the demo lets you explore. It's not an open world game, but it has big open areas with plenty to see in between towns. I actually prefer when games take this approach, unless the developers are confident they can fill an open world with enough interesting things to see and do. There were a few side objectives to focus on while exploring the main area in the demo. There are these fruits scattered about which you can collect and trade in for items at a specific merchant. There are treasure chests to find, which are all marked on your map. This is perfect if you only want to focus on chests and skip the rest, because you won't have to hunt them down. Although, personally, I enjoy exploration the most. There are crystals to find that give you some of the points you need to learn new skills. There's a pillar that takes you to a combat challenge when you activate it, and I'm just now realizing I never went back there because I got my booty kicked. I don't know if they're meant to be that hard, or if I was meant to grind. I have to find out. There are also clovers and items to find on the ground. There are plenty of incentives to get you to explore, but I think you'll find yourself wanting to do so anyway because of how gorgeous the environment is. Getting across these vast open areas would take you a while on foot, but thankfully, this game gives you a mount. The Pickle mount is adorable, increases your traveling speed, and allows you to jump higher to reach some of those fruits I talked about earlier. It's not perfect though. Platforming with it felt pretty bad, and it can't go into any amount of water, even shallow puddles. If you try to run through it, you'll be dismounted immediately. I understand doing that for large bodies of water, but really, a puddle? I just want my big dog to be able to splash around. Mounting also takes too long. I know that sounds like such a small thing to complain about, and the calling animation did not bother me at first. Trust me though, when it's your 10th time doing it, because you have to demount to battle, you start to wish you could just mount instantly. This is the part of the video where I'm gonna sound like a certified hater, but I'm just keeping it real. For context, I played the demo on PC, and this could be a case of poor optimization. This doesn't excuse it, but it may help to explain it. If you're someone who played the demo on another platform, let me know if you had a different experience than the one I'm about to describe. The movement in this game feels horrible, and this is devastating for an action JRPG. When the action part of that acronym feels bad, that's a big problem. Honestly, it's inexcusable to me. Imagine making an FPS game where shooting a gun feels bad. I don't know how to describe what it feels like to move around and jump in this game, other than you feel like you have a permanent movement debuff. It's a really weird feeling. At first, I thought it was just the main character's playstyle in combat, since he uses a greatsword, and that can feel pretty slow in some other games. However, after playing all of the characters and moving around on the overworld, I discovered that was not the case. There's this section where you have to jump across ice blocks, and the jump cannot carry you as far as it needs to, so you will end up falling into the water and taking damage. Jumping in general feels super strange. It's like it doesn't carry your momentum or something. Movement in combat also feels sluggish. There is a dash, and you're gonna need to use that, but the combat doesn't feel responsive. Overall, the movement felt clunky, and I really think this will cause many people to drop the game, or avoid it altogether, if it's not fixed. I don't know if it even can be fixed this far into development, but man, I hope so. If you're already a fan of the series, I think you'll be able to look past it. It's not going to stop you from playing and having a good time. However, for new people coming in who have experience with other action JRPGs, this will absolutely deter them from playing. I will say, I found out the reason running around and jumping in the big area felt so bad. This game allows you to jump, and typically when you come across a fence, you think, hey, I'm going to jump over this, right? Well, you don't need to in this game, because it has an auto vault mechanic where all you need to do is run at the fence, and it gets you over it automatically. This auto vault activates over many parts of the terrain, even parts you wouldn't think it needed to do so. We're talking like small little inclines on the map that you probably wouldn't even notice yourself. So when you try to manually jump around, it interferes with the auto vault mechanic, and the result is super clunky movement, and it's just not enjoyable. That part can at least be alleviated by not jumping once you understand you don't need to in many situations. Though it makes me wonder why they chose this kind of design in the first place. It doesn't really make sense to me. That sums up my experience with the Visions of Mana demo. Did any of you guys play it? And if so, how'd you feel about it? Are you gonna pick it up on day one? For me, I think I'm gonna wait for it to go on sale, but ultimately I will play it eventually, as I am a fan of the series and I really can't get over how gorgeous this game is. If you liked the video, press the like. In my next video, I'm going to be covering a game that's coming out very soon, Love Ghosty. It'll probably be out the day I release the video or thereabout, so if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe. With all that out of the way, I hope you're living today in a way you won't regret, and I'll see ya in the next one. Pook out.